What if I did my video like this? Does it make me isometric? Yeah. How are you feeling? You got John Riggs here. Remember when I said this? And there's a few of them on the NES, and we're going to cover all of them. I think there's all of them. I might be missing one or two. If I am missing any of them, please call me out in the comments. Yeah, I was way far off from the truth. There's like 12 more isometric games we gotta cover, so we're gonna do them in this video right here. If this is the first time you're watching this, you're like, what are you talking about? I did a previous video where I covered isometric games, and I was just like, oh, here's all the isometric games for the NES. Nah, it was only like not even half of them. Here's the rest of them, I think. And I am leaving a couple of them off. Somebody suggested, maybe Super Sprint or Ivan Ironman Stewart Super Off-Road. I mean, I guess there's an argument to be made there, but I'm not gonna have those on this list. Look at this deli-style beef stick, this old trapper. The old trapper, best enjoyed isometrically. So if I'm like this, and this is like this. Something like that. Oh, this is good. Yeah, I like this. It's funny, truth be known, they sent me a few of these to try in a video. They're like, hey, whatever you want to do with them, go ahead and do it. I was like, yeah, sure. But I just took my first bite there. This is actually really good. All right, I'm going to put this away so I'm not snacking on this while I'm doing my voiceover stuff. More isometric games for the NES. Here we go. The comments aren't wrong. How could I have left Paperboy off this list? It was funny, just when I went through the initial list, I was like, oh, there's probably all the isometric games, but there's so many more. And the fact that I left Paperboy off this list, man, that even blows my mind, as much as I played Paperboy. The NES version, not as great as the arcade version, but it's still super, super fun and definitely a classic game for your NES. If you're not familiar with Paperboy, really quickly, you deliver papers to the colored houses. The houses that are black and white, you can throw papers through the windows, get some bonus points and all that. But if you hit every house, then you'll get more subscribers for your paper route. And of course, you gotta avoid all the things in the way, like the go-karts, the breakdancing people, and so much more. Big fan of Paperboy. Yes, it would be easier if it was just a vertical or horizontal shooter, I guess you could call it. But no, I mean, just the way that it's set up and everything, I couldn't imagine this game any other way. I'm giving this game an A. We move on to Paperboy II. And again, I'm ranking these games based on how great they are by being isometric. Not how good the game is, but will this game be any different if it was or wasn't isometric, if that makes sense. But let's talk about Paperboy 2, because it's a lot like Paperboy 1, only there's two angles now. You have the left side and the right side. A and B buttons throw it left and right. You go down one side of the street, and eventually you make your way out to the other side of the street. Gotta love that. Maybe not as classic of a game as the first Paperboy, but still super fun. I'm also giving this game an A. A lot of people mentioned Captain Skyhawk as being an isometric game, and even though it plays like a vertical shooter with some depth to it, the way that the graphics are laid out on the ground and everything like that, I think there's an argument to be made that you would consider this an isometric game. I could see it that way. I didn't see it that way at first, I'll be honest with you, but I think the comments got me steered in the right direction. I do read the comics on my videos. I do read the comments on my videos, and I think you're right on this one. I would consider this isometric even though you yourself are just scrolling vertically, and you can move left and right. But how everything else is set up, that's isometric, so let's make that happen. Interesting shooter. It plays like a Zaxxon, kind of, but it has your depth. You can go up and down if you fly over some of these mountains. If you don't fly high enough, you'll crash into them. Fun game, fun shooter. Your ship is a little bit too big. I wish the graphics were smaller to fit more on screen, but maybe that's half the challenge. Captain Skyhawk, decent game, and because of its isometricity, I'll give it a B. Cobra Triangle. Oh my god, how could I have forgot this game too? So many games from Rare are isometric. Have you noticed that? Well, Cobra Triangle is another great game. Plays a little bit like an RC Pro-Am. Let's not really call it that. It also has the power-up and the boost features of a Gradius or something like that, where you can build up your fire, your speed, get missiles, force fields, stuff like that. And the different levels are different tasks. Like sometimes it's just, how fast can you get to the end? Sometimes there's more going on here. Like you have to save the swimmers and stuff like that too. Super, super fun game. I'm a big fan of Cobra Triangle. It gets pretty rough near the end. Not rough, but tough. But super, super fun game. I definitely recommend this one. Great game to begin with, and it's isometric, and I love it, and I'm giving this game an S. Oh boy, here we go. Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure. No game is more LJN than this game right here. It's a little confusing, a little odd, and very isometric. Now, if this game was just top-down overview, like a Legend of Zelda style, that 3/4 view and everything, I think I'd like this game a lot more. But because the game's a little clunky, it's a lot clunky. Not really sure on where to go. It's not really direct or straight on what you should be doing. And the fact that it's isometric makes it a little bit more confusing, and you can't really go anywhere you want. Ugh. Terrible game. Terrible game to begin with. I do come back to it just to remind myself, but terrible, terrible game. Man, let me give this game an F. If it was Zelda View, it'd be a little bit better. Not by much. The Last Ninja, another game that's pretty tough. There's a quirkiness to this game that I kind of come back to sometimes. But again, just the angle of how things are, and you think you're punching the guy or kicking the guy. No, you're totally punching or kicking past him while he's punching you in the face. You're just like, I'm kicking right next to you. How come you aren't taking damage? Well, The Last Ninja is certainly a game like that. I remember this game winning awards like in Video Games and Computer Entertainment magazine back in the day for some reason. I was like, really? This game? All right. Well, it's based on a PC game, I'm sure. The NES port, whatever. It'd be easier if it was just like River City Ransom style, but it's not. It's The Last Ninja, and maybe that's why it won the awards. I don't know. I'll give this game a D. Another game I'm surprised I left out the list. What about NES Play Action Football? Isometric? Well, I mean, you move at a diagonal. I guess I'll count that. Sure, why not? Let's consider NES Play Action Football, or NES Play Action Football, whatever you want to call it. It's football, but with that diagonal angle to it. Gives it something unique and fresh, I guess. Tecmo Bowl moves left and right. So many other games like 10-Yard Fight move up and down. Let's move at a diagonal, just for fun. I'll give it a C. Pictionary. Do I need to say it? It has probably the best NES soundtrack on any game on the Nintendo system that doesn't deserve a soundtrack this good. Now, Pictionary itself, Pictionary the game, especially even playing as a one-player, you have to do these little mini-games to unlock parts of the puzzle, and then when you get enough, you can guess. And if you get it wrong or don't get it right, you can, try again later. And then once you get it right, congratulations, you move on. The different mini-games along the way, they're this kind of simplistic, mini-games that will get you to uncover the puzzle to make it like a one-player experience. So you're not just, going off the computer's drawings or anything like that. Although the computer's drawings are pretty rudimentary. But the stage itself is isometric. So we'll call it that, and I'll give this game a B. I mean, music alone makes it a B. The game itself is probably a C or D. But we're going on isometricness in the first place, and come on, let's call it a B. Another fun one with Pacmania. I remember seeing this at our arcade in the downstairs portion of the mall, not the upstairs arcade, the downstairs arcade was the first time I saw Pacmania. I thought this game was the future. You take a classic game like Pac-Man, give it a jump button, make it have a ton of ghosts, but still have it be the same kind of fun Pac-Man, just at an odd angle. I love it, and I had a lot of fun with this game. And this game plays just fine with or without this isometric angle, but still makes it kind of fun. I'm gonna give this game a C. RC Pro-Am, another great racing game from Rare, giving that isometric angle on this one. A superb classic, love this game. I think a lot of people like this game too. It was one of those earlier release games that just a lot of people had. You probably had it, or maybe you rented it, or you had a friend or a neighbor who had it, so you could borrow it from them. A lot of fun with RC Pro-Am. Kind of taught me how to, how to turn corners at an angle where you can start turning it like early and drift around the corners. That's what this game taught me, even though I'm still not very good at it. Super fun though, and I like it a lot, and I'll give this game a B. For its isometricness, of course. And same for RC Pro-Am 2. That's right, if you didn't know, there's a second RC Pro-Am game, also from Rare. Came out later in the release of the NES. I think the Super Nintendo was already out during this time, but super fun game. It's still RC Pro-Am, you gotta love that. I mean, it's the same, just more and, in my opinion, better. Maybe not as nostalgic, but better in every other aspect. And I'll give this game a B. Oh, we got WrestleMania Challenge. That's right, with the Ultimate Warrior on the cover there. He was champion at this time. Not the best wrestling game we had for the NES, but it was one of the better ones because it played more like an arcade game. It was just like kind of just for fun. You have your little buttons, you have your, like your punch and attack and all that. Some of the people have their own moves. Like Brutus Beefcake does the sleeper hold. Rick Rude does the Rude Awakening neck drop, stuff like that. But it gave this isometric angle, so instead of having a wrestling game like Pro Wrestling, which was, just at that, just kind of dead-on view, or anything like that, like a lot of other games did. It gave us this little isometric angle, which just kind of gave it a little extra depth to it. Thought it was kind of fun. I'll give this game a C. You know, somebody mentioned Ultima Warriors of Destiny. Now, this game's terrible, and I don't know if I would consider this isometric, but the way that you're standing at an odd angle, I guess counts? I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. Should this count as an isometric game? You let me know in the comments. Even if it did, or even if it didn't, the game is an F, and the isometricness of this game makes it an even further F. So I'm avoiding this game as it is. With the last bite of my Old Trapper beef stick, thank you for watching. I hope I've covered them all in this video, but there's always new videos coming out, more ranking videos, but even ranking games or rating them from worst to best on other criteria too. There's always coming out, so make sure you're subscribed. Always something new coming up. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.